Hey darlings, welcome back to my channel. It's me, Kigam. Okay, so today's video is a request from my lady Ash. Thank you so much for requesting a video. I think this is a really important topic, and I really want to talk about it. So today we're gonna talk about friendships and like luxury lifestyle and shopping, and then at the end I want to talk about something which I think is really important, which is like the elitism that we're finding at the moment in the luxury shopping world. So I think this is such an important topic, and I've been thinking about it a lot recently because I think because of C19 as well, I feel like C19 has definitely like put pressure on people's friendships. And my lady Ash's request actually completely goes with one of my friends. She sent me this article from CNN, and it's wild. Okay, I'll have to find it because we were like chatting on Telegram, and it's about like guys, it's so wild. It's basically about people whose like friendships have like withered away because of C19, and it's so crazy because they're like these people they're like these feature interviewees in the article, and one of them was like, oh, my friend went to a restaurant. So I was like, we're no longer friends anymore. And I'm just like, yo, that's so crazy to like stop being friends with that. And guys, I'm not trying to be flippant. C19 is real. I'm not an anti-masker. I'm not an anti-vaxxer. I just live in a country where it's not really affecting us because there are just so few cases. But I know some of you do live in countries where there are tons of cases. So obviously I'm praying for you guys. I have you guys in my prayers because, you know, this thing is biblical in its proportions at this point. So yeah, anyway, so the article is talking about like how friendships are changing because of C19, and then that reminded me of my lady Ash's request, but also it reminded me of actually the general issues I think we're getting right now when it comes to like luxury shopping and it comes to friendships. I think there's a total correlation between friendships, luxury shopping, and friendships in C19. People's friendships change when people's circumstances change, and that's like the number one thing. So for example, you might really be one of these people who doesn't want to wear a mask, and your friend might be like, hey, we're not rocking together if you're not wearing a mask. I'm the kind of person where I will do what my government tells me to do, and I will do what makes people feel comfortable. So if you're my friend, even though in Tanzania we're not wearing masks, we're not mandated to wear them, no one has to wear it. Say I travel and I go visit a friend in the UK. If my friend's like, hey, like we're sitting in the, you know, same room together, we both don't have C19, but I don't feel comfortable like going out without wearing a mask or hanging around with you in a group of people without wearing a mask. Can you wear one? I'll absolutely wear it because I'm not a pedant, and I'm not pedantic about things. But I think one of the biggest things like I've noticed in terms of like the luxury world is that it's the same thing with people who like luxury shopping, and if you really enjoy those types of things, because what you'll find is people are judgmental. Like if you guys follow me on Instagram, and some of you do, thank you so much for following me. Please come and join me on Facebook as well, because my Facebook page is definitely a little popping right now. At least I'm trying to make it popping. One of the biggest things I've also realized when it comes to like friendships is that you have to be careful like what you post on social media. So I have lots of childhood friends from boarding school who follow my Instagram. I have friends from I met at uni in the UK. I have friends who I met here in Tanzania. Some of my husband's friends follow me. I follow some of my husband's friends back as well. So I need to be very prudent and careful in what I post. Not that many people watch my videos who know me, and that's exactly how I want it, because I feel like I'm more free on YouTube as opposed to Instagram. Some of you who follow me on Instagram, you see that I post like, you know, I post when I'm going to church, I post my like what I'm eating, I post random funny things, I post like Christmas videos. Those are very innocuous, and a lot of them are not related to luxury, whereas this channel is about luxury and it's about shopping and about high street brands. So I think what can happen is like you can really come across like you're showing off and like you're bragging, even if you don't mean to, even if you're just like, you know, trying to be thoughtful and kind, and you're like, hey, I'm so excited, I got this like Gucci bag, or I got this like Balmain bag. People are just gonna be like, wow, like you're really showing off about what you're buying, but you don't know what the people who are going through who follow you. You don't know their financial situation, even if they are your friends. People are private about their finances, and that's fine. So I think what can happen is if you post a lot of that stuff particularly on Instagram, you can kind of come across like you're boasting and like you're showing off and like you're kind of full of yourself, even if you aren't. I notice some of you who follow me, you don't use your real names on Instagram, and I completely understand why. I have my real name on my Instagram there. But I feel like if I was gonna be like, hey guys, I bought these Fendi sunglasses, I bought these Versace whatevers, I probably wouldn't have my real name, because I feel like it just ends up kind of stressing, like it can put a lot of pressure on your personal friendships. I would have to then make another account where I can post that stuff so that people who don't know me can't see that account, because it can really make people feel uncomfortable. So my biggest piece of advice that I would say to you, if you are like feeling that your friendships are changing because maybe you buy luxury things or your lifestyle is like way luxurious and way nicer than other people who maybe are in your friendship circle. I mean, it's kind of harsh, but I think there are two things. I think first of all, know who your like real friends are, because there are people who are always going to be your friends, like regardless of what you have, what you buy, they're always going to be there. I think there are other people who, and this is so true, there are other people who are friends with you because it's beneficial to them. So you might have nice things and there might be like, oh, well, Cindy has a Chanel bag and she has a G-Wagon, so that must mean she has tons of money. That must mean later I can use her and like borrow money from her. That person is not a friend, that's a user. Okay, that person just wants to use you. And then what if like you lose your G-Wagon? What if you have to sell your Chanel bag? Those things happen to people. Then what? Then where are your friends? I've experienced that as well, like within my business career, when things were going super amazing, everything's popping. But then what happens like when you get a problem? Where are your friends? I can literally count on my hand like who my closest friends are, and they know who they are. So for me, it's not so much like, oh, I feel like embarrassed to like post things I'm into and luxury brands and luxury shopping. No, it's because that's like my personal account on Instagram. And I would rather just like keep my friends separate. If I have a friend who's into luxury who approaches me privately like, hey, I love your videos, I also love the Celine bag, or I also love the Louboutin shoes, then I feel like that creates a dialogue and then you can connect from there. But I think that with friends who you've been friends with for a long time who aren't into luxury, I think just don't talk about it and don't bring it up, because I think it can get quite awkward for everyone if someone else brings it up. Like I have a friend who doesn't like luxury shopping. She thinks luxury brands are a waste of money. She thinks it's just slapping a logo on something. It is not as simple as slapping a logo on something. I mean, look, this is my Back to the Future t-shirt that I got from ASOS Design. It's not like ASOS just like, okay, let me just slap this on. This is like a high quality image here that they took, that they put color on, that they whatever, and then, obviously they're manufacturing it. Whenever people are like, oh, you're wasting money, it's just a luxury, whatever, they just put a logo on it. I always just like prefer to just ignore that person or ignore the comment and move on. Because I feel like if you get upset about that and you show people that you're visibly upset, it kind of makes you look like, wow, you're such a snob, like you care about such materialistic things. Whereas if you just pay people dust to that comment, I think it just kind of makes you it's like way better for you personally as well. And I think it just won't affect you as much. I've heard that comment a lot, like, oh, like I can just take the logo and do it myself. I can do it. I've heard that from so many people who not even that they've asked me directly, but they do know that I like luxury brands, I like luxury shopping, and then even bar that, I like, high street brands and things like that. You're not gonna check me, okay? So I think also in friendships, it's like, you're not gonna check me on the things that I like, I like what I like, you like what you like, that's fine. And again, I hate to be that person who's always bringing up men in the conversation, but men don't even do these types of things to each other. Even a man who thinks like a Rolex is a waste of money, he's gonna STF you, okay, if his friend likes a Rolex. Because you might not have the funds to buy a Rolex. Do you have 20,000 pounds to buy a Rolex today in London, or $20,000 to buy one today in the US or in Johannesburg? Yeah. So I think like if people make weird comments and they're your friends, just ignore the comments. I think if people are being bitchy, that's different. I think a bitchy comment is something you need to check. So for example, I think this happens a lot during Christmas time, my Christmas tree, and holidays, like maybe when you go home to visit your family, and then people are like, oh, wow, you bought a Vuitton bag or you bought a Gucci bag, that's such a waste of money. I think you could just be like, well, like I worked really hard for my money and no one's gonna tell me how to spend it. I think things like that are important. I think sometimes people do need to be clapped into place and just let them know that I didn't ask you to buy it. You didn't buy it with your money, so you can keep your little slick comments to yourself. For those of you who live in Africa, you know what I'm talking about. African relatives, African friends are always the first person or first people to try and check you. So I think sometimes you can check people back very respectfully in your Michael Jackson voice, okay? Very pulled back. When it comes to a friend, I think it's just, honestly, it's just better to avoid the conversation unless they're into luxury stuff, just avoid the conversation. I think this also happens a lot within friendships. Someone might be like, oh, is that real? You know, I remember reading on the Purse blog, someone commented on the Purse blog many years ago and was like, I think you should just lie and say it's fake. I was like, I'm not spending £2,000 buying a Fendi baguette. And then if you ask me, is that a real baguette? I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say yes, you guys. I'm not going to sit there and lie and be like, no, it's a fake baguette, guys. It's not real baguette. No, I don't think you should do that. I think you should be like, yeah, it's real. I bought it at the, Fendi boutique at X. A person who doesn't care about luxury should stop the conversation there, and then the person can receive the information and then they can decide what they want to do with it. If someone is like feeling weird and like jealous about the things that you have, I think they're, however they respond, that's on them. And if they're your friend, they're going to respect your decisions. Honestly, I think something else that pertains to this is like the cost of weddings. When now he's my husband, but when my husband proposed to me, I remember like reading so many forums, going on Reddit, reading groups, like going on Facebook, because I was obviously like, engaged, I'm going to be a bride. I was really excited. And the judgmental comments from friends, like people going on Reddit or going on Facebook groups to slag off their friends who are brides, like, oh my God, you guys, like my friend wants to, she wants to like, spend tons of money on her wedding. I think it's such a waste of money, right. It's like, but it's her wedding. It's her wedding. And you're supposed to be her friend. You should be supportive. You should be there for your friend. Are you paying for the wedding? No, you're not. So why does it matter how much that it costs? I find things like that crazy. And that to me is jealousy. So I think there are elements there. I remember one story I saw in this Facebook group for brides and people who were like organizing their wedding was like, oh, my friend's, she's going to spend like $50,000 on her wedding. Now, the mistake that the friend made, the bride, was telling this friend how much money she's going to spend. I don't think you should like talk to your friends about how much you buy things for. I really don't think that's a good idea, because I think that can put you in a very awkward situation even without you realizing it. So maybe if you guys are watching, maybe you want to go to the Gucci store and buy something in your country. You probably have to go alone unless you know that your friend is into luxury shopping, because I think it can make people feel super weird. So in that case, that the bride is excited. She had a $50,000 budget. And I remember it was a church wedding. She had a $50,000 budget outside of the church. So once she was done with the church, they had 50 grand to spend on the reception. Okay, well, that's her budget. That's a big budget, I would say, particularly for the US, for people who aren't celebrities. That sounded pretty decent to me, and like sounded like a really big budget. And she's like, oh my God, I can't believe she's gonna waste all this money on freshly cut flowers for her wedding, blah, blah, blah. And I remember like on the group, I just commented and responded, and I just gave my response. I was just like, okay, but like, you're her friend. That's her day. You need to be supportive. Okay, and she's not asking you to pay for it. And in this particular example, I remember, because this is what I did as well. The friend paid for her bridesmaid dresses. I paid for my bridesmaid dresses. So you're not gonna check me, okay? If I have put money for your bridesmaid dresses, I'm not asking you to use your money. I will buy the dress for you. You're not gonna check me, okay? Reminds me of Sheree Whitfield on Real Housewives of Atlanta. She's like, who gonna check me, boo? Like, seriously. You're not going to check me on that. So I think what happens is the bride made the mistake sharing, oh, I'm going to spend $50,000 on my wedding. That instantly obviously created jealousy in this friend, and she decided to go slag her off on a Facebook group. Like, you're a B word. Sorry, not sorry. You're a B word for that. And I don't think that's cool. So I think with friendships, like, just avoid. So maybe the next time you want to go luxury shopping, you want to go to the stores, I think just like either go alone or go with someone who likes luxury brands. Going with someone who doesn't like luxury, I think later, even inadvertently, they end up judging you. Even if they don't want to, they're like, whoa, like Kageme's like going to Selfridges and she's like looking at like $10,000 Cartier bracelets, or she's looking at like fine jewelry that might cost like $30,000. I'm just giving an example. Okay, it's not something I'm doing, but I feel like then it just like plants these seeds of like weird, creepy envy, jealousy, and mistrust. Yeah, guys. So I think just like to continue on, I think the key thing is having a sense of perspective and understanding that you might be in a situation where you feel lonely because you can't talk about, your shopping sprees or going to like really cool hotels and luxury places. But that's a blessing from God, frankly. It's like a good problem to have because that means you're blessed and you've got all these incredible blessings that you can afford to talk about these things. Honestly, I'm not the kind of person that believes that women should like dim their light. But I think when it comes to your friendships, just know your audience and know who you're talking to. And if you realize that maybe there's a friend who you've noticed just little things, like you've noticed like your friend hasn't bought new clothes recently. You've noticed that your friend, she's like spending a lot of time at home. I'm not even talking about C19. I'm talking outside of C19. She's spending a ton of time at home. Maybe there's something going on there. And maybe instead of being like, hey, let's go shopping on the weekend, let's get wrecked, let's go on holiday, let's spend, 500 pounds going shopping. Maybe you can just reach out and say, hey, like, how are things going? Are you good? Are you Gucci? You okay? Because someone might be struggling financially, but they might be frightened to ask for help. They might be worried to ask you for help. I think that also plays a role. There's definitely jealousies that happen in friendships. There's no doubt about that. Particularly if you start doing really well and your other friends are just like doing whatever they're doing. There is this sense that some people have, like, they don't want to see you doing better than them. That is definitely a real problem. So I think that it's important for you to just have that sense of perspective, but at the same time, make new friends. Make new friends who like luxury. I talk about luxury brands to my cousin and I share with you guys on this channel, and I've already connected with some of you on Instagram and we chat on IGDM. That's a blessing to me because besides my cousin, I don't have anyone else to talk to about that stuff. My cousin and I were always sharing, like, just recently she sent me a pic of like the Louis Vuitton tote bag, whatever. So cute. So I think when it comes to like your die-hard close friendships from childhood, you might just need to accept that some of them are not going to want to hear you talking about all the money you're spending or all the great times that you're having, because they might be struggling or they maybe just think that it's not something that they're interested in. I always read the room. I always look and see and feel. If there's a friend of mine who maybe has said something bad about Chanel, like, oh, I would never buy a Chanel handbag, I'll never waste my money on it, I am not going to talk to you about luxury brands because you've shown me that you think it's a waste of money. I think it's interesting and cool, even though I'm always slagging Chanel off on this channel. So I'm not going to like waste time talking to you about it. I think it's just key to know your audience and also accept that there are many of us who like luxury brands, but it's hard to find people who are like really into it, like us, particularly on YouTube, Instagram and Facebook and things like that. So seek out new friends, keep a lot of stuff to yourself, and be as discreet as possible with your friendships. I am going to wear my Fendi baguette, honey. I don't care who I'm with. If I have my Fendi baguette, I'm wearing it. If I have my Chanel bag, I'm wearing it. But if people ask me questions, I will definitely answer in a way that is soulful, respectful, without coming across like I'm boasting. But if you get rude, I will check you. And I think that's also important. So tell me what you guys think about friendships. Do you think friendships change when people's lifestyles change? I think friendships do change when someone's lifestyle change. Like if your friend was taking public transport and then all of a sudden she's driving around in a G-Wagon, that's like my favorite car of the moment, or a Bentley. Yeah, that's awesome. That's cool. Some people might be triggered by that and be like, whoa, like what's going on in Kagem's life? She's got all these nice things and I'm not really doing anything. It kind of ties into like the way people think a lot of influencers have all this money, but they don't account for where the money comes from or whatever. Not that I think it matters, but that's something that a lot of people complain about. So I think when it comes to your friendships, like just know that a lot of people don't really have that many friends as well. The more you become successful in life and you're doing really well, your other friendships do just wither away. And I think female friendships go through that a lot because it's hard for people to see you doing really, really well if things aren't happening for them. Anyway, I want to know what you guys think of this video. If you like it, you know what to do. Subscribe to my channel, hit that bell, and I'll see you in my next video.